Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Nicole.
Oh, you doing, stranger? Everything good? Tuesday, March 11 at 6 p.m. We will call the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. We have a moment of silence. Would everyone please rise for pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll have you please call roll.
Member Hemingway. Present. Member Jones.
Present.
Member Mayor.
Present.
Member Flannery. Present. And Member Wagner.
Here. So Sergio, we have a administration of the oath of office. Okay. Doesn't Miss usually do that?
Correct.
Okay. We're not doing that tonight.
Correct.
All right. Who was that for? Was that for?
I believe it was for two members of the BZA that was.
That's okay. We can do it next.
There's carrying over, right?
Correct.
There's carrying over.
Okay.
So they would relate it to this administration, so it's not an issue.
Okay, so it's not an issue for election of officers then?
No, because in the same capacity, it would still proceed, if their current appointment would still continue.
Well, you get your technical stuff going first.
Mr. Chairman, one question.
Yes, Ms. Mayor.
So under, unless I'm looking at an old agenda, under item 7, approval of minutes, it lists December 10th, but the November minutes were also in the packet. So are we also adopting the November minutes?
Oh, let's jump down there.
December 10th meeting, there was no January meeting, no February meeting, no meeting in March, so we need action on the December 10th meeting, the last meeting that the commission met.
So the November has already been taken care
I
of.
believe it can be.
Okay, I just wondered because it was in the packet, but it wasn't listed. I'm good.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. The next item is item 6, we have election of officers. I assume, Sergio, we're looking for a president and a chair and vice chair for a BZA.
Correct.
Who's ready to jump to the table?
I nominate Brad Hemingway for chair.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Rats. Thank you. So now we're looking for a vice chair. So we would like to be the vice chair.
Motion for Mr. Ed, that's vice chair.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Sergio, Mr. Hemingway, take over now? Or-
Yes.
Okay. Number 7, we have approval of minutes for December 10th, BZA. Has everybody reviewed those?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 10th.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have support?
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion? Sergio, do you need to take a roll on it?
Yep, with the roll call. Member Hemingway,
Yes.
member Jones,
Yes.
member Mayor,
Yes,
member Pulaski. Yes. And member Rath.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Go to number 8, preliminary hearing. BZA 25-001, developmental standard variance. Smith of E. Anthony Inc. on behalf of orthopedic specialist of Northwest Indiana requests variance of table 26-6.405. Q-1, private lighting type, section 26-0.45. 405 Q-2 B, pole height, and section 26-6.405 Q-3.6 illumination, color temperature of the Munster zoning code, building and lot plans. Standards at 9900 Columbia Avenue. Sergio would like to.
Sure, I will give a briefing and, so this project was recommended to appear before, these variances were recommended to appear before the Board of Zoning Appeals from the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission approved, their overall site plan contingent upon receiving two variances or several variances. One set of variances being from the light standards, currently in their municipal code. They are looking to install, here currently proposing to have overhead lighting style. Our lighting codes require either colonial approach or ACOM style. The pole height is they're proposing 23 feet high. The code requires 20-foot high maximum, and the lighting color temperature they're proposing 4,000 K lumens on that, and the current code requires 3,000 K. So they required as part of the commission's approval for the site plan to appear before the Board of Zoning Appeals requesting variances from those three sections of the zoning code.
Board have any questions?
Mr. Chair, Sergio, I got a question.
Mhm.
Been spending a lot of time driving past this property the last couple of weeks. My mom is in the rehab center right down the street at Hartsfield.
Mhm.
So I turn in this corner every single day, every night as I leave there. After this meeting, probably had there tonight. As this was all changed from the addition that it was supposed to be, it became a totally different design. When I drive past the parcel and I look at the property right here, the building way to the back, why isn't there any landscaping like down this parkway is in front and this other lot there?
What property then?
This is the property that we're looking at.
99.
This is the property that we're talking about with the light posts and stuff.
I suspect that the reason why landscaping has not been installed is because of the temperature or the weather, I should say.
I didn't have a landscape drawing on it,
Yeah.
drawing, so I was trying to.
If they have to comply with the landscape plan that was approved by the Plan Commission, any variations from that would require them to return.
Right.
But
I see-
they're operating under a temporary occupancy.
Mhm. But I see the plans in the parking lot area.
Those were installed prior to the season.
Okay, so the whole front of the building, which they didn't do anything with, we never required them to put.
There's a landscape plan that was approved and they received several variances previously, so we have to compare that. to
Okay.
See where the gap is, but. at
But
this
my
time-
gap is, once again, the building that, and the addition that they were supposed to put in, they never did. So that building, I don't remember how it sat, if it sat to the front of it, to the side of it, you know.
Yeah, and that occurred before the Plan Commission.
Yeah.
And this landscape plan was approved by the Plan Commission with variances offered or granted a year ago. So if there's any variation from that, they will be required to return to comply with the site plan that was approved by the Plan Commission and any variances that have been granted.
Can you email that over to me tomorrow? So I have to get it when I'm back in my office. I want to see everything that was approved, talked about, and the variances. So I can look at it.
Any other questions? Is there anyone from the representing them to come to the podium, state your name, address? And write it on the form there.
Mark Smith, for the E. Anthony Incorporated, Tinley Park, Illinois. The side lighting that we are proposing here, was part of the original package that was submitted and approved through the original plan when the buildings were going to be in 2 phases. We didn't deviate from anything that was originally proposed. Height is 2-foot base, 23-foot pole, and the standard industrial style light fixture, which is complementary to pretty much every business in the area. And similar along anything you'll see along Calumet Avenue as well for an industrial style project.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm looking at your photometric plan,
Mhm.
and so the numbers that are represented on the plan can be met using lights that meet the code. So is there a reason why you're not complying with our code?
As I previously said, when the project in
I
its
understand
initial
that.
stages, we didn't deviate from that.
Okay, but that doesn't comply with the code.
I would argue that in this scenario, with everything in the area, that's where we're going for the variance today, has an industrial look in this area. The style you're asking us to comply with is an ornate style, something you would see, in a downtown district. It really doesn't fit this application. I understand the code, but in an industrial district, we're just matching what's there.
There, I wouldn't call it industrial district, because it's really.
Well, business
Builder,
district.
right, business district, a little bit.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I make a suggestion to the petitioner?
Yes.
So for the next meeting, that how we as a board, make our decisions is based on several things, but one of the things is hardship or proof of practical difficulties. So that's something that you need to think about for the next meeting.
Again, the application here, I think, is a little bit different. That's really all I can say about that. And this, with what we submitted, again, we didn't deviate from anything that was originally approved. So I understand what the new code is. But again, it's decorative lighting versus, lighting that just fits the purpose of a typical parking lot.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
driving past, I personally didn't have a problem with the black lighting. They're so far off the street. I would like your owners to kind of look at that property, and obviously you got that huge grass area, and you see how Hartsfield is across the street with the landscaping coming down that. I think it would bring a lot more focus to your building, curb appeal wise and everything, if you looked at that front lot layer, that's not. I can't remember, we're out in Columbia and that corner drive, rest of that area off of it, So
Understood.
that's landscaping, that's cheap, I think make your building nicer.
Understood. Springtime, we'll discuss with the owner.
And I'm sure the doctors want curb appeal going to their orthopedic surgery place.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Smith, does the same logic apply to the color temperature and the height of the lights as does the style? You're saying that that's what was approved initially, and being this type of lighting requires that height, I'm assuming. I just want clarification, and also the color temperature.
It does with the lumens, the 4,000 lumens. This is actually a downlight. So the decorative lights that you're showing there would actually have more of a pronounced orbit in the area. So these actually just shine down. It's more pronounced, conducive to the lot. So it wouldn't go beyond what you have in the lot.
And Ms. Johns, I would state for the record that driving past nighttime, I did not notice any bleed over. Pollution.
Didn't seem. Okay.
This is a very typical style of lighting for this application.
Any further questions?
I-
Yes, ma'am.
So are these like, pole lights been already installed?
They are, yes.
Oh. Oh,
Good point.
didn't know that, okay. And Sergio, I have a question. When he says that this was already approved, what's he referring to?
He's referring to an approval that was submitted to the plan commission, not approved through the BZA. There was variances granted by the BZA over a year ago. But the request for variance for lighting standards was not one of them.
So is he inferring then that the plan commission approved the light fixtures?
That is correct. He confirmed that that is the power of the plan commission's purview to approve that.
Okay, very good.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'll set this for public hearing.
Yeah, we have a motion for a public hearing. I have support.
Yes.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, thank you. Call roll, Sergio, please.
Member Rappin,
Yes.
member Flossie. Member Mayor,
Yes,
member Jones,
Yes.
and member Honeyman.
Yes. Okay,
Excuse me for 1 second. I just have a hard time hearing you. Are these microphones actually working?
Yeah, you hear me? I'm speaking right into it, no?
Might be recording that.
I'm just asking. That's my back there.
okay, so on, we have approval for public hearing for BZA 25-0021 on April 8th. Work with Sergio and get that taken care of. Forward to it. We have another public hearing, BZA 24-010 developmental standard variance and a Garza and Doyle signs for Jessica Ditch of BMO Harris. Is requesting a developmental standard variance for table 26-6.701. B sign type wall sign dimensions, clearance for a new wall sign for BMO Harris on 915 Ridge Road. Sergio, can you enlighten us on that?
Yep, I'm gonna briefing. This project appeared a few months ago with several variances requested. They, at the time, were advised to remove the variances requested and reduce the number of variances requested. At that time, they now reduced the variance requested to 1. The request is for a height clearance. The current code requires 7-foot clearance off of the wall. They are proposing a 6-foot clearance, so 1 foot less for a wall sign. That is the only variance we did. Everything else, all the time, is in foot and compliance.
Any questions from the board? A representative from BMO Harris, please.
Yes, hello, I am John Streets with Doyle Signs here on behalf of BMO Harris, or I should say BMO Munster. I want to make a note that staff has been wonderful to work with on this. We worked hand in hand with them and our client to pretty drastically change what we were proposing for this. Last year, when I came before this board, we were proposing refacing the pylon sign and had other signs in the package. They were using vinyl on the letters. This new package that you see before you today, we minimized the number of variances that we're proposing. We changed it to direct print colors on the faces, so we're not using vinyl anymore. We're not going with refacing the existing freestanding sign. We're actually proposing a brand new code compliant monument sign that didn't have to go before this board, but I believe is in your package. And then we're moving the other set of letters that's on the west elevation and only proposing a brand new set of letters on the front elevation. And the only variance we're asking for is the required height from grade. Right now, BMO Harris BMO not only doesn't, has a standard margin that they like around their sign, but also, as staff agrees with, it looks bad having the sign right on top of the coping above the brickwork. And so this variance is ideally to make this sign look great, as well as prove the hardship of dealing with a one-story building with that type of architecture. You know, it's just bringing the sign down 1 foot so it clears those beautiful arches that you see there. And otherwise is co-compliant with everything that Munster is asking for. So that said, thank you for your time, and I'd like to answer any questions you have.
Up to the board, any questions for him?
Well, basically, you're putting one sign in front of the building and you're adding a monument sign. That's the only signage on the wall.
Exactly.
So
It's a very modest sign package.
looks nice on the building.
Any further questions? No. Okay, bring it back to the board. We have a motion,
Public hearing.
or is this for public hearing?
Second.
No, you gotta.
Yeah, was it?
You're in a public.
Open the public hearing.
We'll open it up for a public hearing. Anyone? Going once? Anyone? Going twice? Going 3 times, public hearing is closed. Get back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve BZA 24.
Second.
Motion, I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Sergio, can you call roll?
Member Rathod,
Yes.
member Pulaski,
Yes.
member Mayor,
Yes.
member Johns,
Yes.
and member Henry.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now I have a continued discussion on item BZA 24-009, conditional use. And this is the vehicle-related use of the motor vehicle cleans facility, a car wash there at Marathon Station at 9451 Calumet. Public hearing was closed on December 10th. And Sergio, you want to bring us up to date on that?
Yes, the petitioner or the applicant appeared back before the Board of Zoning Appeals in December, had the public hearing, which time it was closed. The request is to operate or continue using a car wash facility existing on site that has been inoperable for many years or several years. They are now looking to reopen that car wash as part of the requirements for conditional use. At the December meeting, the applicant indicated that there are future plans, and the Board of Zoning Appeals requested that he share those future plans of expansion, particularly the commercial service area or the commercial area, and so he has presented that for your review as well.
Okay, questions from the board for Sergio? Any representation from car wash discussion? Say your name and address and, well,
Yeah, hello, I'm Nick Merbone with Good Oil Company. We own the property over there. We're from Winamac, Indiana, is our head office at 1201 US Highway 35. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have about this future project and yes, or the car wash project too as well.
What's the timeline on the future project?
So the future project has already been approved internally. Right now, we're going over a few more budget numbers on this, but as far as everything else, it's been approved. So we're basically on a contractor's clock right now, which is Chester. So we're just finding that timetable to get that started rolling.
questions from the board?
So that being said, so are you 6 months out, a year out? I'm just curious.
I'm anticipating, hopefully we can start in the next 2 to 3 months. Fingers crossed on that one. It already took us long enough to get the exterior work that we wanted to get completed there. And I know from previous, this is a new regime. We have a new operator, Dickie BZA, that's been running the gas station for us, probably about 2 years now. I know we had some issues with the previous operator with some exterior looks and not keeping up and maintaining the property. He's got this fully under control now that we felt they need to place the investment into the exterior of the property, but not just with environmental pumps, canopy, all the underground lining, electric, it's all been redone, replaced, parking lot redone. There was a total investment of 1.2 million from Good Oil to put it in. We know Munster's making the investment on the outside of our property, across the street, around maintaining all the landscaping and eroding around us, that we wanted to make sure we're up to beat too with what you guys are doing. We also have future plans for the next school year with hopefully Munster schools to do a spirit pump, where we're actually going to designate one pump in one of our islands where the community can come, and if whoever fills up at that pump, there'll be a donation from Good Oil towards the Munster school system too as well. And you'll see that pump, everybody will know what pump that is because they'll have Munster Mustangs wrapped all around it too, as well. So that'll probably have to be approved as well, because it's, right now, we can't show any signage or anything on there.
Well, I'll tell you, I stopped at this gas station. I spoke to you one morning earlier. I think I'm there even before your lights go on or off sometimes. You know, the property is so much better than it has been in the past. I mean, the commitment of your new owner, and obviously through Good Oil, right, it's been a lot better than it has been in the past.
Yeah, thank you.
So that's, I've said it before, this is a very busy, area right there. You said it, we have Centennial Village, we got Maple Leaf Crossing, there's a lot of things going on there. You have all the hospital development. The last thing we're gonna have in town is an eyesore.
Exactly.
So,
And I'll tell you what, it's working too. Our volumes increased quite a bit without going through the details of those numbers. We're seeing a significant increase. So it's showing with the community right now.
the only thing is your pumps, I put gas early in the morning, it scares the crap out of me when that speaker kicks up.
Oh, yeah.
Turn around.
Hopefully too, and with, after this next remodel inside, we have plans to do some custom advertisements on there with the food program we're gonna run in there. It's just still, we're not 100% sure on what that's gonna be yet, but you'll see some advertisement for that too as well in there. And you can order from the pump, that's coming too as well.
My opinion, that car wash has been there for a long time. If it adds value to their property, it keeps the business nice in the area or it doesn't fall in disarray. It's not hurting the community, in my opinion.
Any
Mr.
further
Chairman, I
questions?
have some questions. At the December meeting, there was discussion about a buffer zone. And I think we requested that there would be more information provided on that this time.
Yes, we did submit some architectural work in inside the store.
No, the buffer zone
She's
was,
talk- yeah,
was
she's talking about where
a
the line of
parking
cars.
area.
Which it was decided whether or not we were gonna do like a half wall, I believe that was to surround where the line of cars was, to keep that from being an eyesore, or doing some type of plant wall, kind of like a wall, like a bush wall going all around it. We're willing to abide by whatever you guys need for that. We understand what you're trying to go by with that, so we have no problem doing that.
So nothing was provided then with this packet.
No, we don't have anything for that at this time.
But only thing my question is, excuse me for a second, there's a pond here. There's a retention pond here, so if you put any kind of wall, I don't want to disturb the pond. So if you can put some kind of a landscaping wall, that will be more appreciated by the customer and look better around the community.
You have 9 cars stacking here. I don't ever see probably 9 cars stacked here in a one-bay car wash.
No, I don't. I
2,
don't.
3 at
Yes.
those.
And only thing it is on this side of the property, it's just a parking lot.
Parking lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
so it's not gonna be facing towards the residential house.
Right. So Sergio, what was the purpose of the buffer zone?
The buffer zone is to screen any parking, for vehicles. So onto a public right of way, it is an enhanced buffer. However, as part of the conditions for conditional use, it does require a 5-foot screening.
So it is required.
It is
It's not-
required in order to meet the conditions of a conditional use within our zoning code.
This is not something that we can take out of this?
That is why he's requesting, or he's here before the BZA, because he's looking to vary from those conditions.
Okay, so it's not, I mean, this is something that we could say is not required. That we agree that if we were all to agree, that it wouldn't be required in this instance.
He's not proposing a 5 foot, 5 foot, screen as required in the conditions, and that's why he's here.
Okay, is that the only reason?
Yes, that's my understanding, other than that, that's what triggered his parents here as a condition.
Okay, so, so in order for him to meet the requirements for the conditional use, he would have to have a buffer zone, which is why we would need to make a decision on that.
Correct, it's a 5 foot screen, yes.
Okay, all right, very good.
Usually when you say 5 foot screen, that's either fence or landscape hedge.
I believe it's a fence.
Is that only in this, in that pink highlighted area that we're talking about? That's on the other sheet.
The pilot area is the use itself, that is that is a car wash with stacking, that's what your impact is. The other one is where he's proposing the landscaping circle.
So the wall though would need to go along the curve there of the,
Yes.
Okay.
Here.
okay,
Screen of that.
I got you, okay. And is there any concern about how the cars come through the car wash and come out? Where there's parking back, cars that are parked?
No,
That's not an issue.
it's not an ideal layout, but there has been previous approvals where parking is backs out into drive aisles. So in this case, it is identified as a drive aisle for the pumps and the parking area.
Okay,
Just for clarification, if you could speak into the microphone, your name and
Sure.
address.
Yeah, my name is Sukhwinder Basra and I'm the owner of the DP Petroleum. And I live in Chesterton, Indiana.
Any other comments?
Yes, only thing it is, even when we were talking about the parking up here, they are kind of far away from it when you park the car. These cars come up and we can eliminate these two parking here, so nobody can park close to as the cars come out of it.
Any further questions? Hearing none. Here. That's moving forward.
Mr.
Motion,
Chairman, I'll make a motion.
motion, yes.
Motion to, approve this conditional use without the buffer zone wall. They would still be required to landscape though, correct?
The way the code reads is a screen at least 5 feet in height shall be constructed and maintained along the full length of the sides of the adjacent side of the motor vehicle use.
Okay, so wall would not be required, but landscaping is required.
Some form of screen, that's 5 foot high minimum.
Is there a requirement on what type of landscaping that can be, or is that?
Have you installed like some arborvitae's there?
There is a list of plant species are acceptable or approved by the.
Because we have that land right there on the east side of the property into that back access right here. This is already elevated too as well.
Right, there's a berm there, right?
Yeah, which a lot of landscaping there too as well. Those trees are, actually, we took one down because it was dying, have to replace it this spring. But it's all exceeding over the electrical wires that are there too as well.
So are you saying?
I don't know if we're gonna-
Some work done there? with
I'm gonna
regard
have to
trees?
go and take a look at what we can use as far as plant life goes for this wall, because there's not a lot of space in, there's not a lot of space in between the trees and that buffer zone there as well. on that side in particular. This side, we can make it work. And then there's a little outlet there for the water to drain through, but we can make that work. But I'm just a little concerned about that side as well. It's gonna be really tight. and It's all gonna be growing into each other over time.
I'm here, would you like to clarify your motion?
Well, I don't think that would require a wall or a fence. And landscaping, improvement. Okay. Roland, yeah.
My opinion is, Sergio, can they work with staff to make sure it's heavily landscape? I think a goofy looking hedge for that down 5 foot looks silly on the property in that corner. I mean, you can heavily landscape it by trees and that kind of stuff and make it look nice in that area. But
So-
you have a lot of trees already out there.
There was the recommendation that they follow the enhanced buffer screening requirement that's currently proposed, which is a 3.5 foot fence with landscaping in front and behind, very similar to what you see along Columbia Avenue. Currently on some of those buffer. As a screen,
You currently have a firm, you said.
yes.
That's existing.
That space does seem very tight as it goes, what, kind of north to southish. Would there be room for bushes and that type of fencing there? You know, if you think about,
Yeah, they would probably have to work with the landscape architect as with the shade tolerance and screening plant species for that.
would it? Am I missing, would it be at all possible to make the buffer? And I'm probably missing the whole objective. To make the buffer on the other side of the pond?
Along
Is there a reason
the
that,
side there.
yeah,
The code does not require that it be adjacent, it just says it's screened for the motor vehicle to be used. It's screened.
could they not transfer that buffer then over there?
I
And
mean, plant along the
make
property
it
line.
effective?
That does make more sense if you go other side of the pond, because there's more space around it.
Yeah.
Because the pond is so close to the curb. And it may get, the plants may well die because of the excessive amount of water.
Growing into each other and just the maintenance on it seems prohibitive.
It should make a difference, should it? Planting along the property line versus next to the pond.
Yeah, we can make that work.
So, okay,
I guess it's a longer bit of.
And more trees, more.
Yeah.
does my motion need to be reworded?
The motion should just be in the sense that a screen at least 5 foot height be constructed and maintained along the full length of the sides of the adjacent side and of the motor vehicle to be used.
Using landscaping rather than fencing or wall.
Which can be a tree canopy, correct?
Well, 5 feet tall.
5 foot
Every tree I know is taller than 5 feet.
Right, but you're saying 5 feet tall max,
is what's required minimum, yeah, minimum.
minimum. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. I gotta look at that allowable plants, plant life we can use.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make it work along the property line rather than doing it, right next to the pond there.
They can contact the landscape architect and we advise them what plant species meet those requirements of the code.
Okay.
Okay, we can do that.
So we have a motion on the floor. Support. Second. No discussion.
Ms. Bennett, question, obviously, if we're giving conditional use on the car wash. What if this gentleman sells later on, next owner just lets it go completely disarray? Is there anything you do conditionally based on the appearance on the outside of the property? Make sure it's perpetually kept up, because who knows what will happen in the future. Good oil could sell it tomorrow, shell oil, whatever,
The
right?
conditional use that is put out there, the terms of that, as long as the use continues in this intention, then those same conditions would apply. If all of a sudden the use was abandoned, then the conditions are void at that point, and you user would have to come in and request once again to proceed forward. If they maintained it and continued from there, as you hope would happen, then yes, everything will maintain. But if to specifically answer your point, if they did not continue it as has been ordered or has been approved, then the occupancy and the ability to proceed forward, with that use, could be pulled from the company.
That would have to be in this motion, or would that have to be?
That would be at the future at some point, and then there would be an action that comes to, for the conditional use back before this board, but the occupancy and the use of the property by having the occupancy, the owner coming in there, the user, I should say, it can happen at a temporary level, at the staff level, type of occupancy. Before even coming.
Nothing we have to put in this motion.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
That's up. All I have.
Okay, George, you can call roll.
Member Rappin,
Yes.
member Pulaski,
Yes.
member Mayor,
Yes,
member Jones.
Yes.
And member Henry.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Next, we have number 11, finding of facts. We have BZA 24-011, developmental standard variance for Mendo for MRV Architects receiving developmental plan approval for signs and lighting with condition at 7949 Calumet Avenue.
So this received, Board of Zoning Appeals back in December, and we're now presenting the findings of fact from that meeting for,
this is the Taco Bell, right?
correct, yeah.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval.
1 second.
And second, further discussion? Hearing none, can you call roll?
Member Rappin,
Yes.
member Pulaski,
Yes.
member Mayor,
Yes,
and member Jones,
Yeah.
and member Henry.
Yes. Like we finish up, we have other business, so we have the BZA minute schedule. It's published there. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, our next regular scheduled meeting is April 8th, 2025. We can correct that in the agenda there. Okay. At 6 p.m. Motion for adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Motion on the floor for adjournment. Second,
I'll second.
second. I have 6:42. Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Rick Hemming.
These mics
And I
are,
look at my.
Mics are hot.
mics are hot.
Their children together and Andy. And I think it's cool that you guys all know the boss has and
Yep.
they're competing against a bunch of kids. that,
Ready?
you know,
Right.
from-
All right, folks, I'm gonna call this meeting of the Plan Commission for the Town of Munster to order for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. Please set your phones to stun and let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. Oh, I'm sorry, we have a moment of silence.
You can stand for that.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty. See that? Mr. Mendoza, nice seeing you. Please call roll.
Commissioner Brannigan.
Here.
Counselor Hoffman.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Counselor Nellens.
Here.
Commissioner Rappin.
Here.
Counselor Schinkin.
Here.
And Commissioner Bailey.
Present. All right, we have a quorum. Let's roll. Next up is the approval of minutes from February 11th, 2025. Sure you all reviewed them. Any modifications, changes? What say you?
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes from February 11th.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
And a second, is there any discussion? Either done, Mr. Mendoza.
Commissioner Brannigan.
Yes.
Counselor Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes.
Commissioner Rappin.
Yes.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
I abstain. I missed that one. Next up is preliminary hearings, to which we have none. Next up is the public hearings. First up is PC 25-002. The rezone to the PUD, Mr. Adi of Powers Health, who likes coming here, requests to rezone CD 4-A and PUD to Powers Health 800 MacArthur Plant Unit Development located at 800 MacArthur Boulevard, and this is a continued public hearing. Mr. Mendoza, how do we handle this one?
So just, my understanding from minutes, is that there was quite a bit of discussion on the architecture of the proposed building. And there were some recommendations. The applicant went back and proposed a revised architectural rendering. Here, they're proposing ribbon windows rather than the, punch out or block out windows. And then they've also amended the design standards as part of the rezone PUD to include that language. That was, at the previous meeting. Here, they are now requesting, consideration for approval of a favorable recommendation to the town council for the rezone.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. In so much as I wasn't here, and this is a continuation to which I'm not very familiar with, is there anything as far as procedurally we need to follow?
Just after discussion, because there was new evidence that was submitted on behalf of the petitioner at the request of the commission. So once you have all addressed any of your questions as to that, if there's anyone here to speak on that, on any of that new evidence, or you just stepped in tonight.
Handle it just like a regular public hearing.
Yep, just because you're continuing to take new is for reason to leave out.
All right, any questions for staff as it relates to this before we let the petitioner speak? Either none, is there a petitioner? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And you gotta start bringing donuts.
State
That's
your
the
name.
first thing in the morning, donuts.
State
They
your
have to
name.
be Munster?
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Bring cookies.
Okay. Dave Adi, 901 MacArthur, Munster, Indiana. Seeking approval for the 4-story, 100,000 square foot outpatient rehab building, outpatient building. We made some modifications. We looked several different alternatives on the windows, and we decided that we like the ribbon windows the best. It seems to provide the most modern look, along with the wider precast panels. The building will serve all our outpatient services. It'll house PT, cardiac rehab, neurology, Healthy for Life. The nice addition to the community. It'll be located on the southwest corner of the parking garage. We're ready to get started.
All right, any questions for Mr. Adi?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say thank you for, working with us. I think we're getting somewhere. And it looks good.
Yeah, I want to make sure you fully understand the ribbon windows will be on the south elevation, which you see here. The west elevation, the north elevation, the elevation that butts the parking garage will still be the punched windows. There were some code issues that we had to address.
Sure.
And it really won't be that visible.
Sure.
And there is a connection, Mr. Adi, then on what floor again to the parking garage?
It'll be connected on every floor to the garage.
Every floor.
Yeah, there'll be 3 elevators in the building, 2 sets of stair towers. It'll be a nice addition. It'll really help move people in and out for outpatient services.
So no going to one floor, going in and then going up and down. You could park on one floor and just go.
Get right in. Yeah, yeah. That's the goal, to get people in and out.
That's.
So, Mr. Adi, I'm sorry, I missed last month's meeting, but I read in the minutes, this is just phase 1. So this is the first building that's going up, which is going to be on the southernmost portion of the parcel.
Correct. As you can see to the right of those pictures, you can see the parking garage. And then it'll be a 4-phase project. I don't know if Sergio has the overall, which is probably a 20-year project overall. But this is the first phase of it, and we'll connect on the north face of this building. So there'll be 4 phases that could be potentially 100,000 square feet. And there'll be a center courtyard is what we're looking at.
Are those existing structures coming down?
The first
phase, we'll be able to build it around the existing building. So the first phase is right here in that existing parking lot for 800 MacArthur. So the next phase would be here, which would take out the east wing of this building. And then phase 3, phase 4, and it'll wrap around and there'll be a center courtyard area.
So as the phases go, then you'll take down the whole structure.
Right. Yeah, there's 28 or so suites in there. We own them all but one.
It'd be like
That-
Jones Clinic. Remember? Yeah, courtyard. This one's not, yes, sir.
Are you doing this, job with a tower crane?
We'll leave that up to the contractors. Knowing how tight the site is, it would probably be best. Because we're gonna be really tight against the parking garage, grade in, and the existing building. And we're gonna be drilling caissons right up against it. Yeah, it's gonna be a site logistics.
I can see,
Nightmare.
I can see it just by looking at the area.
And we're putting foundations, caissons in for 6 stories. So if we decide to go up in the future, we'll have that ability.
What are soil borings logs look like? How deep you gotta go?
We about 75.
75.
And is there new, I'm assuming there's new infrastructure for this new part, but you're gonna keep the old infrastructure to the existing, buildings?
Yeah, we're going back and forth with NIPSCO on how to manage all the transfers of the gas and the power.
And water and storm?
And what, yes, Coringa is involved with the water in this storm. And there'll be, on the west side of the site, some underground, water retention areas. Designed for all 4 phases. So we'll be ready to go in the future.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Adi?
Just I want to point for clarification, the phase portion of this development is identified or elaborated in PC 25-003, which was approved last month. That development plan will also be incorporated as part of this PC 25-002 as part of the PUD from zone approval. So you'll have that information in there. Also, the design guidelines and bulk standards also reference that. Any changes or additions to the existing section would require another approval from the commission, so you can see those additional phases coming for you.
And so the process really is to rezone first and then set it as a PUD? Is that?
You are rezoning to PUD.
Right, and then set the PUD for the approval, because doesn't the PUD have to be approved by town council?
Correct, that's the recommendation to the town council.
Thank you. Sorry about that, down the rabbit hole. Any other questions before I open it for public hearing for petitioner? All right, I'll open it for public hearing. If you'd like to speak on this matter, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Going once, going twice. Bring it back to the commission. Close the public hearing. Let's say,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion, favorable recommendation to the town council to rezone to PUD PC 25-002.
there's a motion, is there a second?
Go ahead,
A
Joe.
second.
And a second. Any discussion?
Sounds like we're gonna need more card washes in the end.
It'll be great for the traffic too. Be there none, Mr. Mendoza.
Commissioner Brennan.
Yes.
Councilor Hopper.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Councilor Nellens.
Yes.
Commissioner Raffin.
Yes.
Councilor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bailey.
Yes. All right, moving right along. Next up, PC 21-006, Development Plan Approval, Amendment to Conditions. Amit Shah, HP Munster Investment LLC is requesting to remove the living wall condition on the north wall approved under PC 21-006 at 9420 Calumet Avenue. Mr. Mendoza, I remember this. Were you here?
I was not here, sir. But my understanding of reading the minutes is that there was quite a bit of discussion on the wall to the north, did not have the, what they called a break up or break of the wall. There was a lot of discussion on full windows. Ultimately, the motion was to provide some type of relief for that first floor. You can see here the image, particularly here and here, and then the original plans that were submitted for construction are here and here. The approval was with the condition that a living wall be installed here, along that portion there.
Facing Maple Leaf Boulevard.
Correct, on one side of the wall, facing Maple Leaf. The concern is now the maintenance of keeping a living wall alive during certain weather conditions. And so the applicant is now requesting that the conditions be amended that were initially approved as part of the approval of the development plan approval in 21 to remove the living wall requirement as identified here in the current building. So that is what the applicant is requesting.
I understand. You don't get anything unless you ask for it. Any questions for staff on this one?
Do they have any plans to put something else there?
There is no plans, my understanding of that, but certainly there can be some discussion to kind of meet that breakup of that expansive wall. I think they call it the architectural relief on that. Perhaps a faux living wall or a metal design that may give some architectural integrity or design.
Because the term was only used living wall, so this being government, that's kind of what you have to follow. Does that mean that you're interpreting it as live plant material?
That is how it is interpreted when someone identifies a living wall as part of the condition.
With no irrigation requirements or anything.
There are certain ways to irrigate it. It's usually done internally with types of structures that are designed to accommodate the plant life.
Okay, any other questions for staff?
Is that wall how close is that to, Maple Leaf Boulevard? Is there a parking?
Yeah, there's a parking
Okay, so
field
it's not
between
like-
there, right?
I was just thinking about like in the wintertime with salt
Right.
and different things that would destroy.
And this
stuff.
PUD at the time, Councilman, was, you know, having to do with the connection into of Maple Leaf Boulevard into, Lansing Country Club. So there was gonna be a lot of traffic, so there was a lot of discussion about how the look was gonna be. Currently, that's not connected, so it's really not being utilized, and directly across the street, having driven down Maple Leaf more than once, all you see is the open end of tractor trailers at Pepsi. So aesthetically, this is, you know, light years ahead of what's across the street. Now, what that means to a living wall, that's your.
I'm trying to think of where, don't we have a living wall on Target?
They're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at it the next time, you know, because I go there several times.
Those are almost
And-
impossible to keep alive.
And there's,
Yeah.
Exposure
And then you throw
and,
salt down.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things. That's what I was trying, sorry to.
Mr. Chair, there's also a living wall behind the dialysis center on Calumet Avenue. That's never been a living wall. That looks like a chicken coop fence now.
Yeah, it's just the fence, really.
Yeah.
You don't see the plants.
Yes, ideas are good, but execution and making sure things stay the same doesn't happen.
Okay, let's move this along. I'm assuming, sir, you're gonna speak on behalf of the petitioner. Please state your name and address for the record and have at it.
Good evening, Amit Sean, 9420 Calumet Avenue, representing HP Munster. Everything Sergio mentioned is what I'm looking to do, remove that requirement for the living wall. I'm open to hearing any feedback you have, with another replacement for it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
in this shop, would be better to add some planters, maybe at your front entrance instead of the back of the building. That kind of brings people to your building than the rear building. I don't know.
No, I mean, we do have landscaping in the front, we have planters in the front, but,
I mean, it's,
This was a requirement of the PUD when it was approved. You were here.
year and a half ago.
I mean,
So, I mean, there's art, there's things that you can do as a wall hanging, almost similar to like a landscape type of a feature, just to break up the wall. And one suggestion might be, and I don't know how we would handle this is just throwing an idea out, is that tie that in when that Maple Leaf Boulevard opens up through traffic, because then that way there's some time to see how that, you can work on the property across the street from this. And while we're working on that, the hotel can come up with an idea of some way to break up that wall while you doesn't have to worry about this, and you need your final, don't you, to get your final?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. I'm on a TCO rate.
So that's a couple of ideas.
Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at that addition on there. Should it be a dark color? Is there a reason why that was picked? Or should it be more of a beigey color, or whatever, to match the rest of the building? Do you want it to be featured or have it more obscure?
Are you talking about the first level?
Yes.
That doesn't bother me. I feel like it matches, there's coordination with the roof too. And that other existing building.
Does the other existing building have a dark first floor?
The office building is limestone.
Yeah.
Limestone. If you're talking about the office building.
Yes.
Yeah, I could plant arborvitae across that wall.
Yeah, they'll never stay alive.
Yeah, one of my questions was,
That's a spirate.
is there any way, what Mr. Hofer asked, like how big of a space goes between there? Is it possible to create a planting area?
I mean, I had probably a foot.
That much?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see right there,
Right.
Jen, you can see the
That is
sidewalk,
all.
and then there's the
Okay.
parking bumpers, and then you got that parking field, a drive, parking field, and then a path and rocks, and then the street.
Street.
Correct.
Okay.
Great. So not the best picture, but here it is what it was.
Oh, the overhead.
So this is the part of the building that we're looking at right here. So they're parking, and here's the street, and this is Pepsi. So we're talking about the walls right here.
Space to, I was thinking like, can you do
That's better right there.
like a green space?
Yeah.
Jen, this is kind of like how some buildings do.
Yeah.
Like different,
That's what it's like artwork, right? But that's like artwork, that's not.
Yeah,
real.
no,
So no murals.
even the bushes at the bottom, though, there's really not room here.
Oh, we were talking to put something on the brick wall at the bottom at the time.
What's difficult? I mean, mural or, all of those things, something in iron, what do other communities?
How about let them have, let them get the final and then tie the final decision on when it's to go here, when the street opens up into, and then we just do what we do.
How do we create that?
How do you-
Yeah, well, how do we make it so
We
we?
wait until we have to
back
do the
on
whole
that?
thing, because when the street opens, the Pepsi's not gonna be in compliance with that, public street, so. there's-
let someone street.
Well, it's approved through the documentation for Lansing. Now, if that doesn't go through, then it sits the way it sits, which is a dead end.
Is that connecting to the Canmara development?
Correct. So if you scroll out, yeah, so you would follow back, and then originally Pepsi was supposed to be able to come on there with trucks and then use that road to get to the light for the truck traffic. That was the original discussion of that. So it was the coordination of Kenmara, those, the developer, or the property owners along that stretch, and then the PUD for Maple Leaf to put in the new light for, Maple Leaf Boulevard. Little history. Okay, any other questions for the petitioners? And opening this up to the public hearing portion. Thank you, sir.
I have a quick question on
Sure.
how long of a, timeline are you looking at? Until that road gets developed, or?
It's gonna be a while.
So, is it gonna, the final occupancy is gonna be conditioned on?
So that's gonna be the discussion. We gotta go through this process first,
Okay.
okay?
next month to come back.
Oh, I don't know yet. So we have to still open this up for public hearing. So when you're finished, then I'll have public hearing, then when somebody can come in, I have to do that portion, and then I'll close that. We'll bring it back to the board, then the process will continue.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so if anybody, yeah, the seats are appreciated. If anybody would like to speak on this matter, I'll open up the public hearing. So come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Help us. Going once, going twice. All right, I'll close the public hearing portion. Thank you for the help. And bring it back to the commission.
So he doesn't have full occupancy for that building, correct?
He's temporary.
So Sergio, the process is what? This has to be completed before he gets the paperwork he needs?
There needs to be a decision on the conditions that were imposed as part of the development plan approval for facade articulation. The condition was identified to install a living wall. The reason for that living wall was to meet the facade articulation that's identified in as part of the code. There could be alternatives. Looking at the minutes, it looks like there was some discussion on alternatives with full windows or other relief methods, but for some reason, the condition was for the living wall. Particularly those two areas, I'll bring it up. Here is what you can identify on the plans and on the wall conceptually.
So is this the only missing item for him to get final certificate of occupancy?
Correct. Everything else is in compliance upon the fact.
We got to get certificate, final.
Sir, for facade articulation or the code that reference specific items that are required.
On the first floor,
That might go in code in the point, so what car there's.
which is not, it's not.
And this is in a PUD as well.
To the PUD property, but this isn't part of the PUD conditions. That's part of the development plan conditions.
It was never identified as part of the PUD approval or outlined as a bulk standard design requirement as part of the PUD approval.
So the entire development wasn't a PUD, this was carved out?
It was part of the PUD, but those conditions are not required as part of the PUD. It was a condition imposed as part of the development plan.
There's not a facade articulation
Oh.
condition as part of the PUD.
Hence the Soviet style office building,
Yes.
architectural style.
And that's where I'm honing in on what the code require for purposes of the facade articulation. That was not.
So our options are another option, we could deny this, we could say it's not required anymore. We could, what are the options available?
Yeah, give us some options so he could get his final.
I'll give you an
So
option.
you can motion to remove that condition from the original approval, or you can deny the request to install the living wall, and you would have to install a living wall, or come up with an alternative to meet the architecture, the facade articulation. Instead of a living wall, it could be another material or something.
Well, what's the purpose of the living wall?
There, other than creating a facade articulation on the first floor, that was what was part of the condition.
And since the front door was on the other side on the street, it was trying to dress up that part of the building.
And other people have these living walls, everything's already dead.
And so living wall, I would say, Councilman, is not an option. That's not a good thing.
No.
So it's either remove that as something that's required or come up with another
And we could
alternative.
sit here till dawn trying to think ourselves. I say, let's just remove it.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to remove the, what do you want me to say?
Living wall.
Living wall.
Just something that's like sculptural or just.
As according to your code, it's only required if greater than 50% of the wall is street facing,
And it is not.
and it is not.
So I said, let's get rid of it, give him his
Well, it
final.
is, isn't it Maple Leaf Boulevard Road?
That is public. It is public. It's-
As of 2 weeks ago.
I stand
there you
corrected as of 2 weeks ago.
We
It
checked
is
on
now.
it, it is now.
You guys are ready for the public.
All right. I like Rachel's point. to come up.
I mean, let's move it along here, folks. Is that a motion, Councilman?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to remove the
Right, that-
PUD for the living wall.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll make it second. I know this client went above and beyond with the sign package over the whole year, over the whole time of the building, and put up nicer blade signs on that building, which we appreciate.
It's beautiful looking building.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Brannigan? No?
Just for clarification, this would be to remove it, to amend the development plan to remove this as a condition.
Yes.
Now, is that something that has to go to the town council since this is a PUD or this is not under this other area?
This is under the final decision is at the plan commission. So
There we go.
Perfect. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Be there none, Mr. Mendoza?
Commissioner Brannigan.
Yes.
Counselor Hopper.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Nellens.
Yes.
Commissioner Raffin.
Yes.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next up
Thank
is
you.
continued discussion items. We have none other business. We have is PC 24-004, the final plat. Mr. Adia, Powers Health requests approval of a final plat, Powers Health 800 MacArthur, Lot 1, located at 800 MacArthur Boulevard. Really? So, Mr. Mendoza,
So last month, the preliminary plat was granted approval. You'll be signing the binding this shortly. What you have before you is the final plat, everything meets the requirements as approved under the preliminary plat.
so I didn't get that particular document. So is that, are we doing this already? Oh, it's in the package. Got it.
So they are essentially taking one lot of record, and then combining it with two meets and bounds parcels. As part of that one lot subdivision, they are dedicating all the right of ways that were questionable whether they had been dedicated or not, and they are essentially cleaning up the entire parcels and lots. So that way we do have one lot of record that would support the folks getting inside guidelines.
Understood. Any questions for Mr. Mendoza? It sounds like we've gone through this a couple of times. Is this a vote? Is this
Yeah,
a
this is a
public?
vote.
This is a vote? To do approval of a final plat.
Yeah, you want me to make the motion to approve PC 25-004, final plat, subdivision, Powers Health 800 MacArthur, Lot 1, including all discussions and findings.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Either none. Mr. Mendoza.
Commissioner Brannigan,
Yes.
Counselor Hopper,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Counselor Nellens,
Yes.
Commissioner Raffin,
Yes.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
Yes. Thank you. All right, next up is finding the facts. Ms. Bennett, do I have to read all of these?
You just need to identify what they are.
Got it. First one is PC 24-012, Development Plan Review for OSNI. And this is the project that's on 9,900 Columbia Avenue.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this finding of facts.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Motion and a second, Mr. Mendoza. Thank you.
Commissioner Brannigan.
Yeah.
Counselor Hopper,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Counselor Nellens,
Yes.
Commissioner Raffin.
Yes.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
Yes. Next up, PC 25-001, a preliminary plat for Powers Health 800 MacArthur Lot 1 at 800 MacArthur Boulevard.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve the findings of facts. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second. Any discussion? Before I ask for the roll call vote, Ms. Bennett, can we do voice call votes? There was a state law for a long time that said we couldn't do that. Has that been changed?
You're required to do so if anyone is appearing by Zoom, otherwise it can be a roll call, but I believe it can be a voice vote, they read the rules. the last, the old 1990 rules.
Good. All right, well, let's be consistent and do a roll call vote. Mr. Mendoza, knowing that I don't have this General Assembly looking at me.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Counselor Hopper,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Counselor Nellens,
Yes.
Commissioner Rath.
Yes.
And Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
Yes, moving right along, last one, folks, PC 25-003, the development plan review for Powers Health 800 MacArthur Plan Unit Development at 800 MacArthur Boulevard.
Make a motion approved.
There's the motion and a second, any discussion? Mr. Mendoza?
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Counselor Hopper,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Counselor Nellens,
Yes.
Commissioner Rath.
Yes.
Counselor Schinkin.
Yes.
And Commissioner Baker.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Adi and everybody on your team, we look forward to seeing how this thing progresses.
Thank you very much.
Donuts next time.
Next regular.
I like cookies.
Next regular meeting is
No,
April
bring
8th at
Yitos.
7 o'clock. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Man, you got this one done.
Almost.
You're right there. I was like, he's gone.